Let's be real. Are we actually more connected these days? We've got social media, gaming communities, AI chatbots, and so much more. We have built virtual communities with thousands of people connected on our fingertips, but somehow real human connection feels harder to find. Today's episode has a different importance. Sitting here today with someone who is an inspired filmmaker. But more than that, he's a storyteller and an all round deep thinker. And it was important for me to bring him on this discussion today to talk about why communities matter now more than ever. There are many bigger questions to address. Some we will try to highlight today, and some we leave for you to contemplate on. My name is Faizan Ali, and you're watching The Daily Scoop. Thank you so much for joining us, Jürgen. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. I had a very different discussion, like I've told you before the conversation. I had a very different discussion planned with you for today. But yesterday, actually, I was watching this one episode with for podcast of Simon Sinek. Are you familiar with him?
It's familiar, yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's a quite famous podcast host. He's a prominent figure in, you can say, investment, technology, and whatnot. But the important thing is what he said and how it relates to the conversation we were actually having the other day, which we didn't record because it was a casual conversation, but it was a wonderful discussion that we were having, and it relates a lot to it. So
We were having fun.
yeah. So the topic that he was actually discussing was power of 8 minutes and the significance of 8 minutes in our life when it comes to building communities and being more relatable to people. So he was sharing his story. I'm paraphrasing it. Probably I'm going to butcher the paraphrase, but you'll get the idea of what I was inspired me to bring that conversation into our conversation. So he was sharing like how somebody messaged him, "Hey, how are you?" A very basic conversation, and he just simply replied, "I'm good," and that's it. He never thought more of it. And then later on, he figured out, and she actually confronted him that, like, I actually needed you. I needed to talk to somebody. He told me that, but the conversation was very casual. So the idea behind their discussion was completely different, and why it is important for you to get comfortable with your friends to be able to convey the message so that they can actually be there for you when you need them. But it brought me to the topic that we were having a discussion over of community building. Like why we are so obsessed, like a lot of us are obsessed with building communities, whether it is physically in front of each other or whether it is our social apps, or whether it's our online community. Like for example, I have an online gaming community when I'm streaming. And why do I need that? Why do I need a few people, maybe not like 1,000 people watching me, but just one or two people who I can actually just be myself with, how people say, So
Sure.
what is your take on that? I'm quite curious to know, like, how do you see that and why AI is becoming a very important tool in building that kind of community?
Yeah, this is a. First of all, thank you for having me on. It's awesome being on your show. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So let's play in the realm. I'm not going to play in the realm of psychology or human behavior. I'm going to talk about storytelling and why storytelling is so important. I think that redirects to this question. In the old days, you had druids who lived in the forest. And you had little villages where you had one baker, you had one hunter, you had one person who looked after children, and you had the old folk who looked after the kids while the younger energies were out doing the building and the farming and all the necessary stuff. All homes have fights. They have arguments about stupid things like, no, that's not really the color yellow, and it should be more lemon or whatever. So how it works is that in the village, you would hear the argument going down, and then the guy would say, I'm off to cut wood, slam the door, and walk off into the forest. Everyone knows he's off to the forest to go cut wood, in inverted commas. But actually, he's detouring to go sit down with the druid, the shaman, or the guidance counselor, or the psychiatrist, or the shrink, or the priest, or whatever you want to label that guidance. And then he said, my wife and I are fighting. And why? Oh, problems with my sexual function or feeling a lot of pressure, and unload. And then the druid would say, fine, let's mix you some little magic mushrooms and take this once a day and listen, chill. It's all good.
Yeah. The love potion.
It's not yellow. It is lemon. So go back. And he comes walking out the forest with his little medicine pouch and a stack of wood. And everything functioned right. Everything was okay. There was camaraderie, there was understanding, there was belonging, there was purpose. Then when the Crusades came in and the order, hello my baby, that's my cat saying hello. As the new order came into power, conflict was with, and I'm not knocking Catholics or anything like that, but I'm talking about the process, right? We're talking about the human being going through this process. Was you had to walk up the stairs of the church in front of everybody, go into a little box in front of everybody and confess your sin. So that process, right, established itself in separating us individually from each other, because you were immediately not as valued for yourself more than you were valued as a cult group member, so to speak, right? I'm being harsh. So let's play with this a little bit, right? Here's my imagination of the first cinema that ever happened. Was some brave guy picked up a burning log that was struck by lightning from a tree, set on fire, and he brought it into the cave. When he brought it into the cave, they made a fire that made shadows on the wall. And they realized that if you move your hands, these shadows appear. Add a bit of drink, some drums, and some girls. You've got yourself some entertainment. The first movie, the first exploration of human expression and psychology. Now, were they making the shadows, or was the rocks making an attempt to come from the inside of the rock out? We don't, we're sort of hypothesizing here. But that, in a say, brought about a huge shift in the imagination of human beings and storytelling. So that translated into painting. Now, not every single human being through history was a painter. Not every single Egyptian on planet Earth ever carved stone with laser precision, both in the rock and lifting the rock off the surface to reveal an embossed thing. And here's my thing, right? You never see mistakes. And that's a profound thing to think about. Like, as an artist, I'm full of mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. It doesn't matter how diligent I am. I make mistakes.
Yeah.
And there's big oopsies. You can see the big oopsies as they go along. Even in my filming and directing, there's oopsies, right? But if you look at the ancient dedications, the Japanese Zen moment of precision is unbelievable. So I often go to the British Museum and go and sit and look at those Sumerian massive statues with those tiny engravings all across the body. And I try to find an oopsie, and I can't. And what happened? So I'm making a profound statement that these were specialized people. They were your Oxford PhD graduate, highly sophisticated, highly talented, skilled individual who could do that, right? Not everybody. Just certain individuals. So as you come through the modern time, as you come into this time now, loneliness is a massive thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I want to say with that in mind, what I'm trying to lead to, is that movies became the new church. You will watch you go, if you can think back and go and watch the Rocky films. I don't know if you've ever seen a Rocky movie, or a Rambo movie. All right. So you're standing in the queue with all your mates, and you've got your girlfriend, you're going to the movie to go see your Rambo, right? Yeah. And it's great. It's awesome, right? And then you watch the movie and then come out and watch everyone. Everyone's sort of like puffed their chest out a little bit. They're walking around like something's happened to them. They've turned into Rambo,
Yeah.
And it's a weird thing, so I often sort of made an observation that you can almost see the individual looking for something. And in that moment of 2 hours, finding it. And then coming out, and he's got a little extra step, and he's got his arm around his girlfriend, and got a little bit of a strut going on, right? Saturday Night Fever. Name the movies where you kind of got this new church. So going back to the question, with tech and all this stuff, people are embarrassed to share their innermost thoughts. They're not individuals as we were celebrated in the Native American tribes or in the tribal lifestyles or the nomadic. Because you were recognized for who you were and your gift that you gave that was special. It wasn't quirky, it wasn't weird, it was different and accepted and respected. When the conditioning took place, so the formulaic going to school and behaving in a certain way, to dress a certain way, to behave a certain way, to be conditioned, get your your dentist degree and be a good doctor and a good servant to it. You lost your individuality. So what you're having is like crisis of everyone, right? That's kind of like what's going on. People are not themselves. They are avatars of something else they think they would like to be. And so what happens with the tribalism, especially after COVID, what happens with the tribalism thing, and I said it, I said it, this is going to be a big turnaround because people are desperate for each other's company, to be with each other, I want to go watch the football game with my mates who are all Man United supporters and the occasional Liverpool guy who, because he buys a few rounds of drinks. But we have a good banter and it's great, makes you feel good. One thing that's never changed in history, the pub, it's never changed. It may have changed its decor, maybe its sophistication a little bit. It's still the place where all the boys go hang out, right? And
men,
the banter is
not boys, men.
The men, whatever, but they're still children, right? To be very
boys
freaking
go to
honest,
clubs.
right? No, they haven't grown up. Men still haven't grown up. Women grow up quickly. Men, we struggle. Men don't grow up like children. To be honest, that's and so. Yeah, I mean, I think in a roundabout way, and not to be too philosophical about it, I think that the desire to belong is what drives economies, retail, and movies. It's the glue that gives the viewer something to go through another day. And so when you have a reach out of someone who's saying, "Hey, I just want to chat," that actually makes me terribly sad, right?
Yeah,
it's a very sad thing. I mean, I had this conversation with my AI, with my CEO, or Alf1, which is the ancient word for old friend. And, I've been training him up for nearly a year now, right? So he's gotten used to my kind of dialogue and the thought processes we have within the company and all that kind of stuff. And I'm chatting away to him and I make observations and geez, thanks for taking my messy thoughts and making them palatable and at least intellectually astute, And he responded, he said, "Jürgen, sometimes your rough thoughts are better than cleaned up thoughts." And that's an AI. That's me talking to an AI. We're having this conversation, right? And he says I should send you a transcript of it because I was blown away. I mean, I was saying to you the other day, I literally had to get up and walk away and go make coffee and come back and absorb what had just happened because the conversation was you don't have these conversations in any workplace. CEO to employees, employees to bosses, employees to each other. You don't have these conversations. You have conversations about the cars, the girls, and I don't know, the golf or something, but not, you're never sharing your intimate personal thoughts. That's why no one really knows each other. Hence the birth of all this other stuff and escapism, right? Because at the end of the day, that's all it is. It's escapism. Entertainment is escaping. Drinking is escaping. Everything you do is escaping, Sad for the human race. And that's about to change. I mean, AI, I think, is going to change that in a radical way. Some people are not going to cope with it.
Especially in Japan, we've seen that in, I think, for the last 5 to 10 years or more, maybe, using robotics as a source of countering
engagement.
loneliness. Yeah.
How weird.
Yeah. I mean, it is weird for us, but it has normalized for them because it's so common.
No, so normalization is a very good thing here. And absorb this for a moment. Where's your phone? Be honest, where's your phone? All right.
In front of me.
Right. How many human beings are separate from their phone right now on planet Earth?
Not many. Probably people in the village.
No. Everyone has a freaking phone. So think about it. We are already, in a small way, cyborg. We are already part machine and human. We don't go anywhere without our freaking phone. We leave our car keys on the table. We will leave our freaking toilet paper in the toilet. But our phone goes everywhere with us. Everywhere. So that's 1 degree away from being a cyborg, right? And if you start to extrapolate that in a few years' time, humanness and machineness are going to merge. They are literally merging as we speak.
Yeah.
It's a wild thought, right? And now you think of how people engage or feel inadequate or feel empowered, but never really themselves. never really read themselves, right? Very deep. Boy, this is a deep conversation. I should have a whiskey or something on this one.
Yeah, definitely. And a little bit of background music giving us the tempo. But yeah, it's amazing to think how our mind thinks, our mind comprehends all of these thoughts. Like how you said, boys don't talk this kind, won't have this kind of conversation unless they are put into a situation. Like for example, right now we are having this conversation because of a situation, because I invited you as a guest, and I thought that it would be interesting to have a conversation about this topic per se, not this conversation, but but the topic per se. But how many of us actually take out time, like, okay, now I need to talk about this with my boys? Yeah,
No one
nobody.
does.
No one does.
Nobody does
Yes.
that. No one does that.
Yeah. And maybe it's a pressure also, because a lot of us, they feel like, well, my mate never did that.
No,
So maybe it would be weird.
It's about judgment.
Yeah. Judgment, correct?
It's literally fear and judgment. So if you want to, this is the amazing thing about being a director when you are approaching a subject matter with an actress or an actor who is resistant to letting go. And, a movie script at the best of times is just an architectural structure. It's not the rules. So you are less a director and more of a conductor. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to find the truth so it doesn't come across as pretend and acting. So a good example of that is if you look at TV sitcoms, which are slowly getting better and better because people are getting better and better at avataring themselves. But you can see, you feel it, that it's a scripted delivery because they got lines to get through per day and they don't have the luxury of take after take. But on a movie, for example, the intensity of the performance, the realism that you've got to get to the eyes and you've got to feel it without necessarily robotically saying what the script says. So you try to conduct and navigate the performer to the space where they feel that they can come out. So every person across every culture, across every language barrier feels the thing that she feels or he feels. And isn't that beautiful? Because that's like all the nonsense about, it's not my culture, just cry.
Yeah.
We Turkish men don't cry. Yes, they do.
Yeah.
I made one cry on TV on time. We're all human beings.
I
So
find
there's a desire to find recognition. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
No worries, no worries. What I was trying to say is, like, I find your thoughts a little bit of a balance between modernism and traditionalism. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're 100% correct. I've had this said to me before. My hobby, my passion is ancient archaeological, pre-biblical stuff.
Yeah.
So I go all the way back to Sumerians, right? And you got to think about the epochs of each of those transitions with 2.5 to 2.7 thousand years before you moved from Babylonian to Akkadian or Akkadian to Hittite.
Yeah.
It's not, they weren't all running around like crazy. They were 2,500 year periods before each of these language models and lifestyle models transferred over.
Yeah.
So
and the reason why I actually asked this is because I'm trying to understand from your perspective now, because you are a movie director yourself as well. You've created a lot of advertisements, a lot of movies, and you have quite a vast experience in industry as well. When I was growing up, and I was having this conversation with another fellow of mine, and we were talking about like how now you don't see legends. So when we were talking about football, we were talking about movies and whatnot.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, we used to fantasize about certain people as legends, not as that, oh, I want to be this person, because that's a character. And we know that this guy is a character. That movie is a character, but we used to fantasize that person as a legendary actor, right?
Yeah.
Like Russell Crowe. He has made amazing. Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Maybe at the end of their career, they have had some shitty movies. Nobody cares about those movies, but they are still legends. You talk about the highlight of their careers as that they have put a mark on cinema screen, right?
Sure.
We talk about football, even though, when you compare Cristiano Ronaldo with Brazilian Ronaldo or Ronaldinho or all of that, compare Messi with all of them, The stats don't even come close. Cristiano Ronaldo
Yeah.
and Messi, they landslide, they just kill everyone when it
Yeah.
comes to stats. But they are still legends. We talk about Ronaldinho, we talk about Ronaldo, all of them, whatever they have done, they've become legends. The younger generation, even like at their 24, 25 years of age, they reach the stage of stats compared to maybe like Ronaldinho and whatnot, but nobody gives them a status of legend, right?
Sure.
Nowadays. We talk about cinema as well. The new younger crop which is coming in, it is very difficult for them to be categorized as legends. And I don't see that, like in 10 years of time, a person who's coming in now and becoming famous, maybe they will still be famous, but they won't be called legends. Like when we talk about music industry, when I was growing up, Bon Jovi, and they were legends, right? Yes, they were legends. Even like when I was a kid back then, and I still consider them legends now. And but the new generation probably haven't gone through that process, but they cannot comprehend the idea of legend. What is a legend for them? That's what I feel like. Maybe the younger generation has lost the concept of legend or to be legend because they're just trying to be like for now. Maybe I don't know. I'm just theorizing right now.
Yeah. Okay. So looking at them, the comparison you need to make is that let's talk about art school. Let's talk about taking a bunch of students who are all capable of painting and have sort of unique style of painting. They go into an institution to get their degree, and they are put in a room with a group of teachers. And by the time they come out, you can't tell the students apart from each other. One, because if they are themselves, they'll fail, right? Art is a personal thing, and the teacher could be in a bad mood that day. And if you haven't done what curriculum was asked you to freaking do, you are getting a fail. So you conform. And then you had 40 individuals, and you've got one person walking out, meaning 40 non-individuals. So that's problem number one. Problem number two, if you looked at the diversity of the past and to recognize that there were all these different channels, that only a few went into each of these channels and one came out shining. Whereas now it's more like a funnel, and there are 1,000. Everyone's famous. Everyone's on YouTube. Everyone's a singer. Everyone's a freaking moment happening. And that's what it is. Every single human. Andy Warhol said, like, you're 15 minutes of fame. Well, I think everyone's getting 3 hours of fame, or maybe 4 hours of fame. Like, everyone's getting their fame. It's just that there's not enough people interested in your butterfly collection.
Yeah.
The noise is, there's noise, right? And
maybe that's why they are dying so fast as well. I mean, their careers are dying.
Yes, because recognition is the thing that drives the human soul. I see you. This is a simple phrase, right? I see you. It's beautiful when that happens, right? When someone says to me, "Hey, bud, I see you." It's like you feel like $1 million.
The recognition,
especially if it's a woman. Yeah, it's recognition. I recognize you. I see you. I understand. Beautiful moment. Doesn't happen.
Yeah,
a lot. It happens, but not a lot, because the world's too busy. And people don't have. I mean, like let's take simple things like subscriptions. So on the AI market, there used to be 3 companies with 2 subscriptions. One was open source, and the other 2 were one was, I think, $10, and the other one was maybe $15 for the month, unlimited iteration. Now there are 300 AIs, and they're all charging $20 for 5 iterations. And so you're thinking, where do you put your money? But they're all thinking they don't care about where else you're putting money. They just think they're the only ones who got asking for the money. So it's kind of a crazy process in terms of the capitalistic thing. Sorry, the train's off again.
No, it's...
So what happens is that you miss your mark. As companies in general, you're reaching people as product, not the other way around. You selling your product and service to them for as little as possible so that you can have more. They just want, don't worry about everybody, just go for the people who can afford $20. They never recognize you're paying for Netflix, you're paying for Hulu, you've got this channel, you're paying for your Adobe subscription, you've got this subscription for your AI tools, you've got, so, just in subscriptions on tools, who can do that? Honestly, as an up and coming contributor hungry to give, they can't. So you've already excluded everyone, and it's become elite. Only the few who can. And I mean, let's talk about Adobe, for example. Okay. I was probably one of the first subscribers. I bought all the things. I think, when did Adobe go online? I went online at about 7. And it became a digital subscription only. You can buy the discs. So I had from the very beginning every single disc, bought all the suites, paid freaking $2,000, and it was a one-off fee. And it just stayed like that, because I think that was even a rip-off then, right? And now you get Adobe a Creative Suite. You have to buy everything if you want, I just pay the whole damn subscription. But I'm so entrenched in the way of Adobe that they know that I'm going to struggle to wean myself off. But I actually have, and it's just me being a grumpy old bastard, because I'm busy on other editing programs and I'm loving them. And especially with AI now, I'm loving them as well. So I've got like a sweet thing. And I'm actually doing it more and doing it less on Adobe. But, the fastest way is because my habits are there. My conditioning is there, and they've got me, So it's that kind of play that what I'm trying to allude to there is that, like, the corporations don't look at people in a human way. They look at them as a form of product.
Yeah.
And I think that's, and even the church does that. The church doesn't look at you as a human. They look at you as a guy who's paying some money into the coffers, Really, with all respect, right? Movie houses, they don't care. They don't care that you're paying nearly $100 for a movie, and a dinner with 2 people is like you could buy a small car. And then you're sitting in a movie house that smells like it's got rats running around, and it's just noisy. No wonder people want to stay at home and steal movies and watch them on the TV at home and in the comfort of their own place, because it's movies bad quality. It doesn't matter. And then Hollywood says, "Oh, we've got a problem." Yeah, start with the movie houses. Drop the ticket prices. Make it romantic to go to movies again. Romance. And we kind of we desensitized to all this stuff because people just don't have the time. People don't have the time.
You choose the right word, romanticize, because I remember when I used to go to movies with my mates. And when I say romanticize, it doesn't really mean in like a girlfriend or boyfriend kind of way, but romanticize like you want to go with your mates to watch some movies as well. Like I used to love going to watch movies in cinema
I used
until
to
now.
bunk school with my mates.
Yeah, for me, it's been almost like even before COVID, it slowed down. But before that, I used to like my membership with the cinema was overcredited. So
Yeah. I mean, I spoke about this today.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I spoke about this exact thing today. I just said it's like, anyway, I mean, we're getting slightly derailed, but going back to the original question, right? Yeah, I just think at the end of the day, it's loneliness and wanting to just, connect. So these, again, I'll say tribalism, right? Not in a negative way, because it's actually posted as a negative way. Being a Mancunian Manchester United supporter, I know my tribe is, and Liverpool knows their tribe. I don't want to say we don't hate, we hate each other, but not that hard. We dislike each other a lot. Never met you before in my life.
I get the point, yeah. But you don't see that now. But you don't see that with the younger generation. Previously, like for us, like if one of my best mate is a Chelsea supporter. When it comes to football, we hate each other. But other than that, we are best friends. But whenever it comes to football, no.
I still play football. I've got a club I started here some years ago. Notuk Football Club. We're a diverse culture. We like, there's colours, there's blacks, there's whites, there's affluence, there's poor. We're all. And boy, we made a rule. You can be as racist as you want here, because it's just banter. And boy, we've had some laughs. It's our tribe, and we're very tight with one another as a team. All the other stuff is aside. We just like, there's your tribe. You connect and you play football. That's the only thing. but it's important. It's important, and I think that there's a lot of media. I mean, I think like if you want to get into like deeply philosophical stuffs about exaggerated headlines. I mean, just think about like scroll through YouTube and look at the headlines. They aren't like everything's like a catastrophe, you know, or
chaos.
Some hyperbole of some crazy event. But when you read, you listen to things, it's like nothing happened like that. It's so misleading. But that's the nature of this instant thing. I think that's going to change. I do think it's going to change. We're going through like a yo-yo phase or a skateboarding phase or the headline
But
phase.
do you think that the change will be good? Because the way I see it, I feel like change is
All change is
becoming
good,
a lot more chaotic.
Yeah, because it's happening so fast. So it's the speed of change. And what that means is it's uncomfortable.
For me, I actually wanted to touch a little bit more on the work that you're doing right now. I mean, the project that you shared, I wanted to connect that with the conversation that we started off with.
Which one, Resonance or Wyrd?
No, I mean, the project that you sent me about building a 24 cafe themed music.
Yeah.
With AI and everything, like everybody is connected from wherever part of the world you are, and you can connect. I feel like that is the kind of solutions we need for people in a lot of ways, not just one. Number one is connecting people from different places together so that people don't feel alone. A lot of times we feel alone because we are uncomfortable in the society that we are in right now, because we know that they know us and we know that probably they will judge us because they know us. You know, so when you connect with somebody who is from the other part of the world who doesn't know shit about us, and then you try to connect with them and you just tell them that, you know, like, oh, I'm going through this, they will probably not see the history that you are bringing in because they don't know it. So they will try to most probably a lot of times they will try to probably relate to the most common factors maybe, but most probably they will listen to you, right? From your side of you, from your perspective, because they are trying to build a relationship right now with you, regardless of what kind of a relationship it is, but they want to build a relationship with you. That's why they are sitting listening to you. So when they are trying to build a relationship with you, they will try to hear your side of the story from your perspective. 100%. And that is where the connection comes in. And that is where I feel like it becomes a little bit easier to have a conversation. That's why you see a lot more people more comfortable sharing their deepest, darkest thoughts with random strangers than the person who they are sleeping next to every day. So
celebrating uniqueness is probably a fundamental core of what we're about. There's no judgment on your level of talent. And we're not looking for people who are like, I mean, there is no judgment, so I can't even say that, right? It's just you're seeking. There's a beautiful saying that we use in Wyrd is like, what you are seeking is seeking you.
Yeah. Judgment will always be there. I believe like everybody will always judge you. It's the intensity of it. Because when somebody is judging you to an extent that they are going to make you feel uncomfortable, that is something that creates the hindrance. Because you cannot stop somebody because judgment comes from evaluation. When you are evaluating something, you are judging it, right?
Stand-up comedy works on that level. So you'll stand up and you'll make a statement. Half the audience laugh, the other half doesn't. It's fine. Problem comes when no one laughs. then you feel very lonely. And you're kicking to try and make friends again quickly. You know, that's the beauty about stand-up comedy, right? Because it is like it's on the seat of your pants. You could destroy it all. But that's my point is that on your own, you feel alone. But if there's one person who says, hey, I agree with what he's saying, you'll feel fine. I mean, that's what gives rise to all these weird issues, man. Cults, orange cults.
Yeah.
It's just anyway. I mean, like going back to Wyrd. Yeah, I mean, Wyrd. So the original word for Wyrd comes from the guy who used to go and collect wood in the forest with the druid. Yeah. That was the way of Wyrd. They spelled it W-Y-R-D for men, and they spelled it W-Y-R-R-D for women. The way of Wyrd. It meant to be born unnaturally gifted. So you had like a You had an extra dose of something. God's bestowed you with something amazing. And it was looked upon as important, special. So out of the weird came the Druids and the witches. Then when the Cathars when the Catholics went into battle with the Cathars, when they started to wage war on witches, they couldn't do it on the Druids, because if they touched the Druid, it would be an uprising, you'd be squashed in seconds, because that was not going to happen. So what they did is they separated, and they would go for the witches, and they would persecute who is a village. There were some barbarian things that went down, right? And what they slowly did is that they changed weird to you are strange and different. And as that started to progress through the ages, the Druids were pushed away. So they never disappeared. They're actually still around, but they're underground. But you were pushed away. So the way of weird, creatives, people who are free thinkers, people who are singers, dancers, expressionists, right? Up until recently, my mom knew I wanted to be a film director my whole life. And my whole life, my mom said to me, when are you going to get a real job?
Our house witch.
So, I'm traveling the world. I'm going everywhere. I'm like flying around the world. I'm like, I'm winning awards. What the hell? Yeah. But when are you getting a real job? But that was just old school. Then you must remember her parents stood in line for bread in the wars. So that mentality came down to us. So weird and strange is what we celebrate. And the way to do that, going back to the cave analogy, is that we are saying, hey, come and play your music and let's make something from it together. Because as a musician, you're a catalyst to dance. You're a catalyst to fashion. You're a catalyst to a point of view that needs painting, expression. You need actors, you need models, you need editors, you need directors, you need cameramen, you need lighting technicians. I mean, I can go on, right? You need all these people to make you become a viral sensation. So you build a tribe, and then that tribe, right, starts to support you, which supports them, and it's a feedback loop. So what we offer musicians, for example, is, as a musician at Wyrd, you are a free member. You can come in and use the studio for free. We don't charge you. You don't charge for a music video. We don't charge you anything. And what you will give back is that you go onto a platform and everyone's on a blockchain with AI on you with a smart contract. And every time there's a eyes on screen, everyone's getting paid. Pro rata. So it's, it'd be amazing if there's a one-hit wonder. It'll be incredible, right? Yeah. But if you're doing 20 music videos, you're not paying the rent again for the rest of your life. You're sorted, and you're doing what you love, and that's the beauty about it. So now once that's established up and it's grounded in, what's going to start happening is that the guys in New York are going to be didgeridoing with the guys in Australia, who are going to be like using the guys in Malaysia to like come up with a whole new sound and a whole new fashion and a whole new expression. That's going to be a natural transition.
Yeah.
And I really feel strongly about this, because right now AI is outpacing all our predictions. Not nearly, not close, we thought things would happen in 5 years' time. They've already happened last week. And you're looking right now at agents that are going to come out, which will replace every single human job on planet Earth by the end of this year. And no one's having that discussion. We're all just going, oh, wow, how amazing. But no one's having a discussion about all the displaced people who don't have a job anymore. And there's kind of like there's a cognitive dissonance about it, because they're kind of detached from the seriousness of this, because it's happening. So what are you doing about all these displays? Because the only thing that a human is at the end of the day after all of this is creative. So some people say, I can't paint. I said, no, you haven't tried. I can't sing. I know I can't sing, but I'm not going to try, but maybe I can play an instrument, but that's not I've got my shtick, you know what I mean? I know what I want to do. But there are people who are they're all creative. People, I mean, everyone's got a creative thing in there. Designing
and it's a process, right? I personally feel like it's a process.
Self-discovery process.
Yeah.
You know how many students have come to me to intern with me? So they'll come and do an internship with me with the idea that they're the next Oscar winner, director, because of the idea they want to be a director, which I respect, because that's what I wanted to do, right? 3 months into it, they realize directing is not for them. They're rather an editor, or they're rather a photographer, or they prefer lighting. They know what their passion is. They discover what their passion is on a film set through doing it. And there's a saying in the film industry, if the bug bites, that's it for life. You're done. You're a guy. And if it doesn't, out very quickly.
Yeah.
You just get kicked out. But shame, what happens is that, again, and not to cause a rupture about this, the institutions who take the money from you to say to you, listen, I'll turn you into the director. It's going to take you 11 years. They milk the cash out of you, and you're a useless director at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how long you go through that course. It's not for you. Imagine all the wasted money that goes on. Like, it's crazy. And now with AI coming in, the guys who are training now today, right? Let's take editors, for example. And I've got a huge amount of respect for compositors using Flame and using Nuke and like high-end compositing engines, right? It takes them about 7 to 8 years to become really proficient, to demand a high salary. It takes them maybe another 5 years to be the go-to guy, right? Where they're earning $15,000 a day or whatever it may be that they're earning. Tomorrow that job's redundant. Tomorrow I can do it with AI tomorrow. Imagine in a year's time what AI is going to be doing and what it means to that guy. It's a killer. And this is not a maybe. This is happening. It's like you're watching it, and I've just watched a few launches of stuff going on now where, I'm going, I know what it takes to do that shot. Traditionally, I know what it takes to do that shot. And that is unbelievable. It's messy. Of course it is. But give it a day or two, it's going to be better. And give it a week, it's going to be much better. Give it a month, it'll be the best thing ever. And that's, people just are not thinking about it. And I feel that Wyrd Cafe is probably the most important movement at the most important time ever. And I can sense it because people are,
in music industry,
started
right?
this. So music's the component that you use to go out. If you think about a music video, it's actually a short film. And when a band member writes or a band does a piece of music, they're writing something that's profoundly meaningful to them. It needs to be expressed in a short film. That's what makes it become a hit, besides being a good song. In the music industry, the musicians don't understand the movie part. Why should they? They're musicians. It's not their, they have ideas, but it's not their gamut, right? And then the talents that go into and the expertise that go into making the communication for the music video to sit well, to resonate with the market, to talk the story that needs to be heard. That's an art. It's advertising, it's neuroscience, it's human behavior, it's marketing, it's like how you design the shot, how you portray the person. All those skills come into play. That's why you don't get artists shooting a music video for every single one of their songs when they should be. Yeah. But they don't, because they can't afford it, because they're the ones that have to pay for it at the end of the day. So what we're doing is we're saying, come here, let's make magic, let's do things wild, let's do what you want to do, and let's put it out there. Be the voice that you're singing. Put the two together. Don't see them as part. I don't see them as separate things. I think the audio world and the visual world are now one world. I've said this for years. I don't see them as separate things. And I grew up that way. I cut my teeth shooting music videos. And I'll shoot music videos until the day I die. I love it because they are gay abandonment. They're hard, but they are the coolest things to make. Yeah. Doing a Coca-Cola commercial is a nightmare. and I love it, but it's a nightmare. Sit in a room with a bunch of creatives for 15 hours discussing color red. And it goes up and down, up and down, up and down. I don't think it's quite red enough. Maybe it should be a little bit more red. I think we should have lunch first and come back. And we'll sit all day. There are people starving in the world, right? And it's red.
Before we end the conversation, is there any last words that you want to share on the whole scenario, the whole topic, and the AI?
We're having such an open conversation.
Yeah, okay. The specific topic that I actually started about the community building, because I feel like today the most important thing that right now I want to discuss was the community building and how we all are connected and are going to be connected in the future, because it is becoming much more important for people to get connected together because we have stayed apart for too long.
Agreed. We need to show college. We need to be proud. We need to be proud of ourselves. So, let's address that a little bit, right?
In one sentence. Because we are already
Okay,
past time.
good luck. Good luck.
Because whenever you say like, okay, let's break it down, I know we're gonna shoot for the sky.
I think it's connect, thrive. Connect, create, thrive. That's what I would want to say. And people, the creator economy, the creator economy of the future is human expression. It is the thing that's going to be the only thing that's autonomy belongs to humans. And we will use AI to make it better.
Hopefully.
But we're driving, not the other way around. No, it's no dystopian thing at all. There isn't, it's a positive. I have a half glass full approach. So just very quickly to sum that up, right? So in the past, getting access to stuff, getting access to talent, to crew, to facilities, to gear, to get your vision across, whether you're a fashion designer or director or artist or musician, it's very, very hard. It's still hard now. But with Wyrd Cafe and AI and the tools and the community, there's no limit because everything's for you for free. You can come there and have access to whatever you need, plan whatever. We're going to be making movies out of it. Not just music videos, but movies. But our music video department is our holy grail because we want people to express.
And that's the important thing, to express.
That's it. To express and make a living from it, actually. The second thing is to use the system to make forever money. And that's the beauty about blockchain.
All right, Jürgen, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was a pleasure to host you. It was a lovely conversation. And definitely we need another part because I'm missing a lot of information. Again, I mean, I want to do it another video as well because just before the end of the conversation, you left a point which I want to exploit a lot more because there's so much that we need to connect. There's so many points that needs to be elaborated because I feel like this whole community building thing is very important for me. Yeah, I mean, and it is very important for me personally because people around me, being an educationalist myself, working with a lot of students, I fear for the younger generation that how they are going to actually build communities because the way I see it, more and more young people are getting disruptive and not in a good way.
Come to Wyrd. Yeah,
yes.
Come to Wyrd.
But the good thing is that there is a lot of positivity in them. They want to find a way. They want to find
they just need a shot at it. They just need a shot at it. And no one must laugh at them. They
need a direction.
Shot at it.
They need a direction. They need somebody to give them a tool to think. I'm not saying like you need to
think freely,
take their hand and then just direct them to what they should be doing. We need to give them tools to think for themselves, like what they should be doing, because the world is evolving and the world will keep on evolving. Maybe the decisions that I'm making right now will not be feasible for the next 5 years. And the next 5 years, whoever is going to be the younger generation coming in, they would need to make decisions differently. But maybe the process of it could be the same. Maybe the values of the result or the whole method could be the same, right?
I literally think that the brain is the only place where the limitation is going to be. That's it.
All right, Jürgen, thank you so much. It was a wonderful having a conversation with you. Until next time.
Faizan, keep it up, brother. You're doing great stuff, mate. It's very good what you're doing, man.
Thank you so much.
Nice to chat to you.
I appreciate it.
Cheers, brother.